Thank you for watching this replay of our service today. We are so glad that you join us in this way. We'd love to learn more about how you are connected to us. So we've created a short survey, a very brief survey that we'd like to ask you to complete. If you are willing, the link can be found in the description or the comments. Thank you again for being with us. We hope you enjoy the service today.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Bresnan. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the temporary music coordinator here at FUN. It's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing at number 78, Color and Fragrance, which will be our first hymn this morning. We'll do the first 4 verses of Color and Fragrance. 78, sorry. I should speak a little louder.
Magical rhythm, sweet changing music, will change us with them. Life within life, in a light gently glowing. Surely you seem to be God's vision growing. Oh, starry heavens, wells of all splendor, songs without number, new life engender. Wheel in a wheel with a light brightly glowing, moving in harmony, God's vision growing. And full of pebbles, high mountain passes, depths of the ocean, dew on the grasses, great things and small, with the light gently glowing, word of the wordless song, God's vision growing. Delicate beings, lace wings and sparrow, in field and forest, clover and yarrow, life greeting life with the light brightly glowing. None are too small to be God's vision growing.
Please greet your neighbor.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful sound to hear everyone greeting each other. I still love it. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Danielle Garrett. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm serving as your student minister this year. It is so nice to be with all of you today, both virtually and in person. Whoever you are, and whatever road has led you here this morning, know that you are welcome here. We are so glad you've come to worship with us. As Unitarian Universalists, we do not share a common creed, but covenant together to affirm our interdependence and recognize the inherent worth and dignity of everyone. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values and the broader world as we work for social and environmental justice. I'd like to extend a special welcome to anyone this morning who is visiting for the first time. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you might find it here. If you're joining us on Zoom this morning and feel comfortable, we'd love for you to say hello in the chat so that we can welcome you. You can find helpful resources and more information about our congregation by visiting our website at firstuunash.org, and you can also feel free to find me after service to chat or ask questions, or reach out to me via email at studentmen@thefun.org for more information about the congregation. Before I begin, I have a few announcements about the life of the congregation. First, our Wednesday night potluck dinners are returning this week. Bring a dish to share and join us at 6 p.m. in the social hall. Second, consider being a fun delegate at General Assembly this year, either in person in Portland, Oregon, or virtually. Funding is available to assist with the fees. Contact Larger Faith at thefun.org for more information. For details on these and all other announcements, please check our Sunday bulletin and visit our website at firstuunash.org. Welcome, we're so glad you're here with us this morning.
Good morning. My name is Tom Surface. My pronouns are he, him. The chalice lighting this morning, the words come from Jennifer McLaughlin. As the first hint of green begins to peek through the barren ground, as that little sprig grows into a healthy stem, as that stem grows into a stalk and forms a bud, as that bud slowly opens with each new day to form a yellow daffodil. Let us be like that first hint of green, renewed by the warmth of the sun's rays, and ready to emerge with a new energy, ready to face the day. We light this chalice to bring a glimmer of that warmth into our space.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Dowgiert, and I use she, her pronouns. And I call us to worship today with words that were written by Alice Berry. Children of the earth and sky, we are nurtured, sustained, given warmth and light from above and below, supported by earth's firm, strong crust. We build our homes, till the fields, plant our gardens and orchards. When we turn from self and seek to be aware, we will find holy light in human faces, in blossom, birdsong, and sky. Then the earth is truly our home, and we are one with all of earth's creatures, parents of earth's children yet to be. Today, we join in celebrating the annual Flower Communion. And if you are here with us in the sanctuary and have not yet brought your flower forward, you are invited to do so as we listen to a musical meditation. And if you are joining us on Zoom, you may use this time to feel the wondrous beauty of the blossoming of spring. Come, let us worship.
Hello again. I'm Danielle Garrett.
I'm Marguerite Mills, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and my pronouns are she, her.
Today's story, One Flower in a Field, was written by Joshua Cyril White. Once upon a time, there was a field. It had dry grass, brambles and thistle, high places and low places, and rocks scattered around, and a stream that passed alongside. And scattered around, here, there, and everywhere, were flowers. Buttercups and tulips, cornflowers and lupines, all kinds of bright, beautiful flowers growing up out of the dry grass. Now you may ask, how could these flowers grow when the field was so dry? The answer is that next to each flower was a hole in the ground, and in each hole lived an animal whose job it was to tend that flower. Most were rabbits, but there were hedgehogs and field mice and even a badger or two. Every morning, each animal would come out of its hole, hop or scurry down to the stream, and use a leaf to scoop up some water. Then they would each carry their leaf back and water their flower. In a little gully in this field, next to a tall sunflower, lived a rabbit. Every day, she would go down to the stream and get some water for her sunflower. She loved that flower. It was tall and bright, strong and healthy, and she took very good care of it.
One afternoon, the rabbit decided to hop up to the top of a little hill alongside her gully, and when she got to the top, she saw something she had never seen before. Down a ways, she saw a flower. It might have been a daisy, but it was hard to tell. The flower looked in bad shape. Now, why had she never seen that flower before? It's not that big a mystery. She had just never climbed that particular little hill to look in that direction. Of course, she knew the field was full of flowers. She may have heard some were not doing quite as well as her sunflower, but she'd never actually seen one that looked as bad as this. She hopped down the hill to take a closer look, and then she began to understand. This flower needed water. Its stem was bent, its petals were wilting in the heat, the ground around it was parched and dry. The rabbit felt bad that a flower could be so neglected, and then she did nothing.
Even though the flower looked terrible, it was just one flower in a field after all. The field had plenty of other flowers that were doing fine. The rabbit had enough work to do watering her own flower. So she went home and got on with her business, getting up every morning, going to the stream, watering her sunflower, and hopping around all afternoon. But the other flower didn't go away. At least once a day, the rabbit couldn't help but hop up to the top of the hill and take a quick look. Every day, the other flower looked a little worse. It started to get to her. The rabbit thought about that flower at night while she was trying to sleep. She thought about it in the morning when she hopped to the stream for water. She couldn't even enjoy her own flower so much, knowing the other flower was wilting more and more every day. Now you may wonder, why didn't the rabbit just go over and water the flower? After all, it was not far away, just on the other side of the hill. The stream had plenty of water, and the rabbit had plenty of time.
Well, that's a good question. The rabbit thought about it all the time. She'd think about making an extra trip to the stream to get some water for that flower. But then she'd think, well, you just don't march into someone's front yard and water their flower without asking, do you? What if that flower is someone else's to water? They might yell at me or something. Or she'd think, what if the flower likes being dried up and droopy? It's possible, isn't it? Or she'd think, aren't there animals who are supposed to go around and help out flowers whose animals didn't water them? I should leave it to them, right?
To be continued after the offering. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. today's Share the Plate will be a special donation to the Emergency Response Relief Fund for Ukraine. This money is being raised by our international relief organization, the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. Just as the Chopex turned the flower communion to celebrate community during times of crisis, today we have an opportunity to widen our circle to include another community in need. Now, this is the only week we'll be using our Share the Plate program for Ukraine, so please give generously. To learn more about the UUSC and their good work, stop by the social justice table in the social hall today after the service. Collection plates will be passed in the sanctuary, and as always, you can donate online by visiting firstuunash.org. The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, are received with gratitude. So our story left off with Rabbit asking herself questions about just who should water the neglected flower. With all these questions swirling in her head, the rabbit went about her business, taking care of her sunflower every day and trying not to think about the other flower. But it kept bothering her, especially at night. It was kind of irritating, actually. Sometimes she wished the flower would just get better by itself or die. But every time she sneaked a peek, there it was, looking more dry, more wilted, and more droopy. Finally, the rabbit could stand it no longer. One morning, hopping from the stream with a leaf full of water for her sunflower, she suddenly thought, it's just not right. Flowers are not supposed to wilt like that. Flowers should be healthy and colorful and bright and beautiful. And she found herself hopping over the hill toward the other flower, taking the water there instead.
And at the top of the hill, The rabbit got a bit nervous. Her nose twitched as she sniffed the air. It might be dangerous over there. She shouldn't be watering other animals' flowers, but then she said, "It's just not right," and kept going, over the hill and down the other side. The rabbit hopped close to the dry flower, closer than she had been before. Suddenly, a hedgehog finally popped out of a hole in the ground. The hedgehog yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm going to water this flower," the rabbit said. "It's too dry, and if I don't water it, it will die." The hedgehog said, "What business is it of yours whether this flower dies? This is my flower, and I'll take care of it how I want. Go home and take care of your own flower." But the rabbit answered, "I'm sorry, but I tried that. Flowers are supposed to be bright and beautiful, not wilting and droopy. So I'm going to water this flower." She watered that dry, wilted, drooping daisy right in front of the hedgehog, though he fussed and mumbled and gave her mean looks. And she turned around and hopped back over the hill.
The next day, she came back with a leaf full of water and watered it again. And the day after that, she watered it again. And then another day, and another, and another. The hedgehog continued to fuss and mumble and give the rabbit mean looks. But the flower started to look better. First the petals perked up, then the stem began to stand up a little straighter. Then its leaves started to fill out and get bigger. The flower even grew a little taller. Strangely enough, as the flower got brighter and healthier and taller and more beautiful, so did the rabbit's own flower. And so did every other flower, all the flowers in the fields, even ones she never watered, flowers she'd never even noticed before. The whole field began to brighten as the colors of every flower became more vivid and the flowers stretched taller. It was almost as if there was more water everywhere. How could that be? Were other rabbits and hedgehogs and field mice and even badgers sneaking around and watering other animals' flowers too? Or was it because when someone waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow a little brighter?
Who knows? Maybe we'll just have to try it and see.
When we come together, we create a garden of life, a bouquet of diverse humanity. We are invited to bring our whole selves, including struggles and difficulties, joys and celebrations, knowing that whatever we bring, we will be tended, watered, nurtured, and held in community. As always, you can reach out to your lay ministers for support anytime during the week, and you can find their contact information on the church website. I invite us today into a time of silent reflection, a time to listen to what is on your mind and in your heart. What part of you needs to be tended and nurtured, maybe watered? The sound of the bell will then bring your attention back to the room, and you will be invited to speak the name or names of people you are holding in your tender care today, and the name you speak may very well be your own. If you're here on Zoom, you can type names into the chat, and they will be spoken aloud by someone here in the sanctuary. Let us enter a time of shared silence. and let us lift the names of those that we wish to hold in the tender care of this beloved community. By way of prayer, will you breathe with me? Breathe with me. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in the richness of the beauty around you. And breathe out whatever it is that burdens your heart today. Breathe in the fertile richness of soil watered by tears. Breathe out hope and the resilience of life renewing itself season after season. Breathe in the abundance of diversity and the joy of vibrant community. Breathe out peace. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our middle hymn, number 76, For Flowers That Bloom About Our Feet. Be seated.
Hi, Marguerite again.
And I'm Caleb, your religious education administrator. And the story we are about to tell is adapted from a story by Janine K. Groschmeyer in her book, Lamp in Every Corner, RUU Storybook. Now, in the city of Prague, in the land of Czechoslovakia, in the year 1923, there was a church. But the building did not look much like a church. It had no bells, no spires, no stained glass windows. It had no organ to make beautiful sounds or make beautiful music. It didn't even have a piano. It had no carvings of wood. It didn't have any statues of stone. It had no candles or chalices. It had no flowers. The church did have some things. It had 4 walls and a ceiling and a floor. It had a few doors and a few windows. It had some wooden chairs, but that was all, plain and simple.
Except the church also had people who came to it every Sunday. It had a minister, and his name was Norbert Chopek. He had been the minister at the Plain and Simple Church for 2 years. Every Sunday, Minister Chopek went to church, and he spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quietly and still in those hard wooden chairs. When he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food, not even coffee or donuts. Springtime came to the city of Prague, and Norbert Chopek went out for a stroll. The rains had come, the birds were singing, and the flowers were blooming all over the land. The world was beautiful. Then an idea came to him, simple and clear, plain as day. The next Sunday, he asked all the people in the church to bring a flower or a budding branch or even a twig. Each person was to bring one. What kind, they asked, what color, what size? Your choice, he said. Each of you choose what you like.
And so on the next Sunday, which was the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow daisies and red roses. There were white lilies and blue asters, dark-eyed pansies and light green leaves, pink and purple, orange and gold. They were all those colors and more. Flowers filled all the vases, and the church wasn't so plain and simple anymore. Minister Chopek spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. These flowers are like ourselves, he said. Different colors and different shapes and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, each important and special in its own way.
When he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit more among themselves, and then they each chose a different flower from the vases before they went home. And that was all. And it was beautiful, plain and simple as the day.
Every year, spring arrives. It arrives with flowers, proclaiming that the world must have beauty. Growing wild in meadows and fields, in cultivated beds, or on the branches of trees, year after year, flowers arrive with persistent resilience. The Flower Communion is a uniquely Unitarian Universalist tradition. Norbert Chopek introduced what he called the flower ceremony to his Unitarian congregation in Prague in the spring of 1923. His widow, Maya, later brought it to the United States. The simple beauty of the ritual, which has endured for almost 100 years now, is a celebration of beauty, human uniqueness, diversity, and community. The simple act of bringing a flower And taking a flower different from the one you brought is a symbol of connection and relationship, which is the lifeblood of religious community. It takes each and every one of us to tend and water this garden of life that we create together. When we partake of the flower communion, we reaffirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person while recognizing the interdependent nature of our existence. You could say that resilient is what we make each other. And isn't this a time that calls for resilience? We have assembled here in front of us flower vases that hold one bouquet, that together they make one bouquet. And we do this so that we can remember our membership in one family of all sentient beings on earth and with one another in the spirit of connectedness. The hymns that we have sung so far this morning were all written by Norbert Chopek, and I'm going to bless these flowers with words that were his also. Infinite Spirit of life, we bless this bouquet of flowers that show us the beauty and fulfillment that we can find when we join together in community. May it remind us, amid our different experiences and gifts, to be one in longing and affection and reverence to all that supports the renewal and repair of life, justice, and love. May it also remind us to enjoy each other and all of nature as we share our concerns and sorrows, our work and our joy with one another. May we cherish friendship as one of those most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all are needed to do the sacred work of this world. And so these flowers are blessed. May they be a blessing unto us, a blessing unto life. Blessed be, and amen. And it is now time for us to share in the flower communion. If you are joining us on Zoom, I invite you to turn on your camera and hold your flower where it can be seen. And we know that in spirit, those flowers join this beautiful bouquet that we have assembled here. And in just a moment, Caleb and Marguerite are going to invite children to help distribute flowers through the congregation. And I ask that as you receive your flower, to do so quietly and reverently, with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and one another with gentleness, justice, and love. As you receive your flower, note its particular shape and beauty, and please remember to handle it carefully. It is a gift that someone else has brought to you. It represents that person's unique humanity and therefore deserves your kindest touch. If you are joining us on Zoom, you can use your imagination to envision that the flower that you hold represents the life of another person. So let us share quietly and reverently in this Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and love.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn today, De Colores, number 305 in our gray hymnal. We'll be singing the lyrics in the order that they're printed, so the first 3 verses in English, the final verse in Spanish. But if you know all the verses in Spanish, you are absolutely welcome to sing it all in Spanish.
Springtime with all of the flowers, all the colors, when the sunlight shines out through a rift in the cloud and it showers. Yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors, yes, the color in the white and the red and the brown and the yellow. All the colors of people who smile and shake hands and say hello. All the colors, yes, the colors of people who know that their freedom is won. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for everyone under the sun. La 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 la. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los paraísos que quedan afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. La 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 la.
Please remain standing for our chalice extinguishing.
All right, our chalice extinguishing, as usual, is the words are from Elizabeth Sell Jones. Please join me.
Let's see your flowers. As our service draws to a close, may we dedicate ourselves once again to the nurture of each individual person who is a part of this sacred community. May we remember those present and those no longer with us, for the memory of those who came before is always a part of the bouquet we make together. And I know it has been the tradition of this congregation to gather in the columbarium to honor and recognize those who have gone before. So I invite any who would like to join in that ritual to the columbarium. Those who are with us on Zoom, if you will just hang out in the Zoom room after the postlude, there will also be an opportunity for you to honor, particularly in these years which have been so challenging, a time to honor and remember any of your loved ones who have died in this past year. As we carry these flowers out into the world, may we treat them and the people they represent with kindness, justice, and love. This service has ended. May our service to the world continue renewed. Go in peace, go in love, and those who would like to join me in the columbarium, please do so. Amen.
There we go. Welcome, Zoom room. We have gathered here to honor the memory and speak the names of those who have gone before. We will begin with some opening words. Then, while holding your flower, you will be invited to speak the name of the person you're remembering today. If you unmute, we'll be able to hear you here in the sanctuary. You may want to find a special spot in your home or in your garden to place your flower in memory of your loved one and as a tangible reminder of the fragile and transient nature of our lives. The poet Mary Oliver tells us, to live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and, when the time comes, to let it go. As you feel moved, speak the name of the person you wish to remember. We will hold a brief moment of silence after each person shares.
James and Lucille Taylor. Can you hear us?
We can't, now I can. Would you like, I'm leaving space for folks to speak. I think I need everybody who's speaking to be definitely unmuted. Now I can hear you guys. But yeah, you're welcome to speak freely, and we'll just leave a natural pause after the names.
James and Lucille Taylor.
Kathy Food.
Joe and Joan Moore, Rusty Walter.
Does anyone else wish to speak before I close our ceremony? All right. We will close with these words attributed to the poet Henry Van Dyke. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice. But for those who live, time is eternity. Hours fly, flowers die, new days, new ways pass by. love stays. Thank you so much for being present this morning. If you are struggling with loss or grief, please reach out to one of our lay ministers and go in peace. Have a wonderful Sunday.